The ancient sword that can choose its master. Long ago, in the heart of the Edo kingdom, there was a legend about a blade so old that no living blacksmith could claim to have forged it. They called it Ogburaimi, the sword that sees the heart. It was said that this sword could never be taken by force, nor wielded by the unworthy. Instead, it chose its master, listening to the rhythm of the heart, the truth in the spirit, and the purity of purpose. Those whose hearts were full of greed, cruelty, or deceit would find the sword impossibly heavy in their hands, as if it were made of stone. The sword had been kept for centuries in the sacred shrine of Udo Hill, guarded by warrior priests. But one year, tragedy struck. A ruthless warlord from the north, Agbanta, swept into Edo lands, burning villages and enslaving people. Even the kingdom's finest warriors could not stop him. The Oba of Benin, desperate to save his people, called for the ancient sword. But when the royal guard tried to lift Ogburaimi, it remained still, unmoved. The priest said, "The sword is waiting for the one whose spirit aligns with its truth." Messengers were sent far and wide, inviting warriors, hunters, and even common farmers to try their hand. For days, strong men and skilled fighters came lifting, grunting, straining, but the sword refused them all. One morning, a young man named Idegbi came to the shrine. He was no soldier, just a humble potter from a nearby village. His hands were calloused from shaping clay, his back bent from carrying heavy water jars, and his clothes were patched from years of wear. The guards laughed. "Do you think the sword will choose a potter when even the Oba's champion failed?" But Idegbi ignored their mockery. He approached the sword, knelt, and closed his eyes. He whispered a prayer not for glory, not for riches, but for the safety of the people, for the freedom of those taken by Agbanta. When he placed his hands on the hilt, the shrine filled with a warm, golden light. The sword lifted easily, as if it were weightless, and its blade shimmered with strange markings that no one had seen in centuries. The priests fell silent. The sword has chosen. That night, Idegbi marched to the battlefield, the sword glowing in his hands. Agbanta's warriors laughed at the sight of a potter leading a charge. But when Idegbi swung Ogburaimi, its edge cut not just through steel, but through the courage of his enemies. Shields shattered, arrows fell useless, and the warlord's men fled in fear. Agbanta himself faced Idegbi. He was a giant of a man, his voice thunderous, his blows like falling trees. But every strike he made was turned aside by the sword, as if the blade already knew where he would strike. In one final motion, Idegbi disarmed him. Instead of killing the warlord, he pointed the sword to the ground. "Leave Edo lands and free the captives. Do this, and I will spare your life." Agbanta, trembling for the first time, agreed. He vanished into the north, never to return. The people of Edo celebrated Idegbi, but he returned to his pottery will the very next day. The sword, its purpose fulfilled, returned to the shrine on its own, awaiting the next heart it would deem worthy. Moral lesson. True power is not in strength of arms, but in purity of heart. The greatest warriors are not always those with the strongest muscles, but those who fight for others without selfishness.